Welcome to the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube. This is our Awakening Together weekly gathering. Each and every week we have a different minister who speaks. If you would like to attend our services live, please visit our website, awakening-together.org. Click on Online Sanctuary on the main menu, then How to Enter the Sanctuary. Our services are held Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. I am so happy to be here. Welcome everyone. Whatever happens in the next hour and a half or so, it is arising from our joining. A statement of purpose. We are an assembly of equals joined in common purpose, awakening to one true self. Within an appearance of many faiths, many cultures, and many symbols, we seek to discern one truth and to rest in its embrace. And for today's gathering, I've also chosen core value number 3. We accept one true self, which is one presence or being, non-dual, without beginning or end, and absolutely changeless. We live this value by practicing letting go of the belief in the individual self as who we are. My insides are all tingling, so something phenomenal is occurring. The next thing is our opening song, and what's so cool and interesting, I entitled today's gathering, It Is As It Is. Comes right out of our reading. But what it really is the prayer to end the illusory self. It's what I've lived in since all month, basically, since the last gathering. And it's an extraordinary kind of place to look at what that means when you choose to live the prayer to end the illusory self. It was a great song that I gave to Cyndi 2 weeks ago before the beach. And this morning, it's another song that asked to be played. It's actually the same song that I played in our Gentle Healing 2 gathering when we discussed these same teachings. And there's tears because it feels radical. It feels like it's a deepening into this request to be only truth, which is my only prayer. I watched myself be unmuted and I started to laugh. There it goes again, Cyndi. Thank you. And I'm also laughing because I knew I'd be away for much of last week, and somehow the reading, the reader, the title for the presentation for today, the songs, even though the songs have been shifted, all came up to be able to hand that all off to Cyndi before I left, so there'd be no rush. And then almost every day I said, so what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I could hear truth laughing at me. Shh. Just live it. Just live it. Just live it. And even these last couple of days, all these different things that may or may not be said, and it's not up to Cyndi, right? And in the last 2 days, in catching up, in listening to the teaching in preparation for Jacqueline and Connie's new class, in listening to last week's homily, and you'll see it in today's reading, the prayer is, thank you for everything, right? There's an inversion going on in my life. That's the word that just came to me this week. These glimpses of knowing that the world is helping for the healing. I'm not being healed to improve the world. It's an inversion. And with that, there's this release and openness and peace that comes from being able to bring everything in. Truth realization is the only goal. So the prayer is that this space, this joining, this oneness be used for truth realization. That whatever is spoken or not spoken, that all these little points of experience, man, am I diving deep into gentle healing right now, I'll get what they need for that one goal, that we know the love and the peace and the joy that we all are, beyond story and beyond space. The reading today is Nti Romans Chapters 14 and 15. And I was laughing, and those that have been on this journey with me, they're laughing because I don't know how many times I've read Nti now. I don't ever remember Romans until this time. I fell in love with Corinthians at one point. Everything was about Corinthians 2. Everything was about Timothy for a while. Everything was about Acts, right? When I got to Romans, for the first time, enough of the I am bad belief, I guess, was gone for me to sink into the love letter, which is what Romans is, the invitation to let go of the I am bad belief, to let go of the story and sink into the truth. My beloved friend Yvonne is going to read now for us Nti Romans Chapter 14 and 15. Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you. And I'm glad to be here with you all and to read this to you. So this is Nti Romans Chapter 14. Judgment is the tool of illusion, and judgment was first used against an idea and against yourself. From that, judgment seemed to spread with illusion, but since all illusion is within the mind, judgment could not spread any place else. Whenever you seem to judge anything, any situation or any person that seems external to yourself, you are judging an illusion of thoughts and ideas within the mind. Therefore, you are continually judging yourself. Since judgment is the building block of illusion, applying false meaning and making illusion real, judgment of yourself does this to you. It hides your truth and presents an illusion of you that isn't true. Each time you seem to judge someone or something, you are judging thoughts in your mind, thereby judging yourself. In believing your judgments, you believe you are what you are not. This is how your illusory self is made and upheld. To know yourself, which is your true desire, you must lay judgment aside. Remember that everything you experience, every person, every place, and circumstance is a thought within the mind of you, and each judgment keeps the veil of illusion alive, which hides you from you. Also, remember that nothing is as it seems. It is within the mind of you, thought up by you for the purpose of having an experience. In that way, the only judgment that can be applied is that it is what it is. The experience is the experience it was made to be. It is the perfect reflection of a wish. It is everything you asked to see. In this way, you may be grateful for everything you have made. You asked a question and you have discovered the answer. In itself, the answer to the question is perfect. Rejoice when you look on the world, for it is the answer to the question you asked. And now you have your answer. You need not ask the question anymore. You need no longer be puzzled. You need not judge and apply meaning to the meaningless. You may put your curiosity to rest. You do not want love different than it is. For as it is love, and love is all you truly want. And now you see. Now you may let go of your attachment to illusion. You may let go of expression of self-will. You may surrender any hidden wish to see differently. The answer that you asked for has been given. Be grateful for the answer. Surrender to it for what it is. It is not what you want. It is only what you wanted to see. And now that you've seen it, its purpose is done. Now that your attachment is released and your question has been answered, you can let go of the illusion you do not need. That is what you are doing now. You are letting go of what you no longer have purpose for. Letting go of illusion is a glorious occasion. Celebrate that your lesson has been learned. As illusion presents itself within the mind that you are, smile at it, remembering the purpose that it had, and let it pass by realizing it has no purpose for you now. It has served its purpose for you. You do not want what you thought you might want. You want all God has given you instead. When the illusion seems real within the mind that you are, do not fear your experience. Remember that its reality is a statement of your truth, and rejoice that you are reclaiming your truth again. In knowing yourself, you know love without division, for the wholeness of love is the wholeness and fullness of you. Nti Romans Chapter 15. Now that you see, I ask for your help. You can be used by me for the healing of the mind if you are willing. In order to be most helpful, you must be willing to lay yourself aside. For you can only be helpful to me when you are under my direction, and I can only direct you when you are willing to surrender to me. Everything is up to you. You are the free Son of God. Nothing can be coerced upon you, nor is it my will to ask anything of you that you do not want to give. But if you are willing to give yourself to me for my use, I will make you useful to the healing of the mind. Through your surrender, we are made one, even within the illusion of division. Through your surrender, our heart is combined, and you shall know me through yourself. You do not see yourself as me yet, which means that you see with the eyes of illusion. But with understanding and willingness and your complete surrender, you shall see me as you. We shall be known as one in your awareness. And where we are joined, all are joined in love. So you shall know oneness, and you shall be divorced from the image of division forever. Laying down your will is important to your service to me, for your illusory will is not my will. Your illusory will is your desire to have things different. Your illusory will is your desire to have things your way. But if you look at the world and remember that it is the expression of your illusory will, you will again remember to return to your true will, which is the same as mine. In surrendering to me, you surrender to yourself. In this realization, you are swept with peace and joy, for your true will is your true desire. And in its recognition, you find your gratitude to yourself. Pray then for your own end. Pray to your Father with willingness to let go of the illusory self. It is nothing to you, and it keeps you from the realization of your truth. Do not fear the passing of this self you call home. It is not your home. and you do not belong there within your awareness. Your awareness belongs with me. I see your true self, and I am waiting here with you to share your true self with you. Blessings in your prayers for willingness. Do not take your prayers lightly. They are your energy which feeds your strength. Through them, your truth shall be known.
Thank you. And so, well, the way the words are coming up, so that there are no misunderstandings in this space. The way this has been coming through for me for these last couple of weeks. Cyndi, Cyndi dies. I am eternal. Cyndi dies. I am eternal. Everything I see as different than what I am is an illusory thought. It's a thought. It is not real. There's a lot of energy moving through. So Cyndi dies. I am eternal. My spiritual aspiration for the last couple of years has been to be truth and to serve only truth till truth is all there is. Cyndi is an experience. This gathering right now is simply an experience arising in consciousness. There is a belief that is still being clung to that I am separate from the whole of the experience we call this gathering. I accept that is not true. Cyndi in this gathering can be considered a puzzle piece within the puzzle of this gathering. But I am interested in the puzzle, in the finished picture, in knowing myself as the whole. As much as I love the experience we call Cyndi, my prayer is for the end of the illusory self, to be truth, to serve only truth until truth is all there is. That, even in Romans 14 and 15, we're told exactly how to do that, yeah? The illusion, this belief that what I am is separate from you is built up on thought. It says judgment, but what I have learned now by slowing things down and watching the thoughts that flow through me is that every thought is a judgment. That's my current experience. Doesn't matter if it's a good judgment or a bad judgment, a right judgment or a wrong judgment. And some of these judgments, they're staying, they point me to truth. They help direct us to truth, but they're all judgment. And ultimately, they will all be, what happened in my writing this morning, used as the fuel to bring us all into the oneness, into this experience. The other thing that really helps me with this, so Cyndi, this idea that is still being clung to, which is why there's this sense of contraction and fear right now flowing through me. Cyndi is nothing other than a collection of judgments. Every thought is a judgment. True thought, as defined within the clarifying the teachings recently, true thought has no words, right? It's a way of being. So this sense of stillness or peace or expansion, that is a true thought. It requires no word. So every word is tinged with a judgment. It comprises this sense of a me separate from you, of a me sharing something to others in this gathering, I accept as useful, and it really is useful and beautiful and loving as that is, that it's not truth. And I accept that the prayer that is in this heart that is being expressed with you requires the letting go of any sense of a me and a you. There is a quote that came from this book that we don't really talk about in the sanctuary, but that I use every day. And that when I asked for assistance this morning with this sense of fear, because there's no question that there is fear arising and has been arising in the last couple of days within this personality. And it's extraordinary that all this fear arises in this sense of a body. And yet I am so immersed in the practice that I was so grateful that that which was hidden is coming up to awareness, to be brought into this space, to be seen. When I asked Rabbi in her wisdom this morning for help, I literally asked for help. Help me be useful. Help me be this empty shell, that truth may be served, and that what I am, even as this individual, this seeming individual, let me serve truth until truth is all there is. This is the quote. All the strategies you use to protect yourself are actually the chains that keep you bound. To be free of the world, you must be free of yourself. And I'm getting chills because this is Romans 14 and 15. This is the prayer, right? The fear that is experienced when you consider what must be done is merely these strategies fighting for their survival. I'm not the fear. The fear is arising within the experience, but I don't claim to be it. Instead, I embrace it from out here. The fear that is experienced when you consider what must be done is merely these strategies fighting for their survival. Ignore what you hear. Ignore what you may tell yourself, and trust that which Wu Sin tells you is the way out. So chills again, because what I hear is 1,000 times a day, ask me, what am I to do now? Which in Cyndi's mind is how to proceed now. That's just the words that I'm used. But even as we're in this gathering, even as Cyndi is speaking, I am speaking, truth reminds me always that it has nothing to do with these words, right? Words are never true. They can point to truth. The intention is to let them go. Walk with me in your desire to, okay, this is Corinthians now, chapter 3. But I look down and that's what's here. Walk with me in your desire to practice, and I shall walk with you. According to your willingness, you shall be given opportunities to practice, as everything that is done for you and by your willingness. The greatest gift in continually saying yes to the gatherings, in the greatest gift in my saying yes to helping facilitate the Gentle Healing Year 2 class that I'm a part of now, in teaching on Wednesdays and showing up in these gatherings, is not to turn Cyndi into a teacher. Cyndi's dying, that's the prayer, right? The greatest gift is the willingness to say yes to all the teachings, to live them, and to keep bringing them to whatever is going on. So, and it's the subtle things, right? Big things happen in our life X number of times a day. You know, somebody dies, or we lose our job, or there is weather, or there's pandemics. Those are big momentary experiences. What I'm learning now in this walk is it's the subtle stuff. It's as I'm slowing down enough to watch the thoughts that are flowing through. I'm recognizing that everything that I believed is illusion. Friday, this is why I laugh when, and why there's this laughter preparing for the gathering. And even when I was talking to Yvonne yesterday, she was laughing at me. She's like, you can't prepare what's going to be said during the homily. And I've studied with Regina long enough to know that we're asked not to. We live the teachings and then we watch what happens, right? So I was in a dyad on Friday, and my partner's internet went out. And so instead of looking at her gorgeous face sitting in the room I'm familiar with in Costa Rica, I was looking at the face that I identify as Cyndi while I was in this open dyad space. And I watched the words, old, fat, eyes that squint, and like all these judgments, right? And I watched them, and I watched how real they felt in this space. I accepted that they weren't true, but it didn't change the experience. And I was brought right back to Regina's homily from I don't know how many months ago, where she pointed to this identification with, we make this decision to do the work, and we have the faith out here, but the body is holding its faith, its belief. And as we do this work, it's like an excavation. At least that's where it is in me, right? So I am consciously showing up and contemplating and doing dyads and showing up to say yes. And my whole life is to be truth, really. Layers are being revealed because the body is holding the beliefs and the stories that are emitting out and creating the world, the illusion of the world. Everything is a thought. It's not true. Where are those thoughts come from? Well, some of these thoughts are sticking into the body. And I was looking at this vision of myself for about 5 minutes before Maria came back. And I saw it and I felt it. And yet I chose not to trust it, right? Didn't change right away. And then someone I love called and had a story about how awful her life was in that moment. And I was watching, believing energy that, oh, like I watched the part of me that was believing her story from out here. So again, the body was activating and reacting as if though that was for me. For her, actually, I also watched the flow of truth flow through me and embrace her and watched her shift and change and know what to do. So even as I was watching the building blocks of illusion that create the Cyndi story, truth was still able to use me, right? And then the same day, again, slow enough to watch and remember that the world is here to help the awakening, right? That's Romans Chapter 15. I give my willingness. We're all here. So whether you know it or not, you have to. We've given our willingness to be used by truth to bring love and light into the world, to dissolve the illusion. We've done it. And we're continually reaching for the highest vibrational thought we can. My practice more and more is allowing me to be able to watch the thoughts and the reactions, and it's wild because the next thing that occurred is someone I work with said or did something, and I felt the contraction and the judgment. I saw it, and even though I didn't respond to it. That's the really cool thing, right? I didn't respond to it. I stepped back and I allowed, the right thing to happen with ease and flow, but I was able to watch the body personality go, and it sat there on this belief that Cyndi is this body who is almost 60, who carries too much weight, whose eyes are too squinty, who is like all of that. It was there and not actively, consciously believed. And then again, in the same day, what a gorgeous gift leading up to this gathering, right? There was an email alert that came through that included something that a daughter did related to money. Man, let's do it all in one sweat. And then the fear, I watched the fear flow through, right? And in gentle healing to this week, I described fear flowing through the body like squidding, which is a gorgeous thing because that's what I saw in that moment. There's a squid. I can't find the location of the squid, but when fear is activated, it's like a squid that goes, and the fear is like the squidding that just fills the sense of me. And when I watch it and I don't react to it, it does its thing. Only now all of these things are swirling in it. And the conditioning says, just go to sleep. Only instead, because I'm a great student of awakening together, I didn't go to sleep. I picked up my pen. There's nothing more powerful in this moment than picking up your pen. I picked up my pen and I said, Rabbi, it's the 10,000 things. I don't even know which one of these threads that are holding this belief of a me versus you in place to look and follow. I don't know what to do. It's the 10,000 things. I pray for the end of the illusory self. I pray. Tell me what to do. And here's what's so cool. And I want to be careful because I've been taught and I understand now it's never the teaching and it's never the process. We're all being told individually what to do. I trust the teachings that are in with me. So I trust that all is well. I trust the formless. And I trust, I'm just grateful to be here and to have Regina's voice in my head so often reminding me that we're all on our own path. This is what worked for me, but you have to ask and then follow guidance. I trust the voice in my head. And for the first time in probably 20 years, the voice said, go to the mirror. I haven't sat in front of a mirror and I don't know how many, I didn't want to. But I picked up the pen. I said, Rabbi, there's 10,000 things holding this being in place. I pray for the end of the illusory self. I was told to go to the mirror. And I took off all my clothes because they're just another boundary, right? Here's this belief that I'm fat and I'm ugly and I'm old. And I stripped up all my clothes and I sat in front of a mirror for an hour and a half. And one of the things, it's a gift, it took years, that has happened in my space is that I've memorized the names of all the Course in Miracles workbook lessons. I've never told anyone, just do this and then you will be healed, because I have no idea, but it started slow and I can tell you all these crazy stories, but I know it's what works in this mind for me to be in awareness, watching awareness. It keeps that monkey mind busy while whatever is doing its work is doing its work, right? So I sat naked in front of a mirror for about an hour and a half, and there was a lot of pain. And I began, nothing I see is meaningless. Everything I see has all the meaning it has for me. And at some point I said, Rabbi, please tell me what you see. And what happened, and again, I'm being really careful because I don't believe the mystical anymore. Like, I don't cling to the mystical anymore, right? I used to. This is not the first time I was ordained. I was ordained as a spiritualist minister. You know, for X number of years, everything was about the mystical. I could talk to dead people, and I could tell you stories about talking to dead people. And I could lay my hands on you and your pain would go away. I lived in that world for a while. I lived as a Christian after that for a while, where Jesus healed through me. I was a big part of the Order of St. Luke Christian healing. And as long as you believe in Christ and you had Christ as your savior, you will be healed. And I laid hands and mystical experiences and holy laughter and all sorts of things. I played all those games. I was a student of Jim Self and sacred. My daughter recently called me a Renaissance woman. She doesn't know half of the things that I did and touched and played with. But now I have Adyashanti in my head telling me, and Muji in my head, and all the work here in my head telling me, if you're still thinking about it, if there's still something going on in you that makes you special and different, then you're not there yet. Not that there's any place to go, but then if there's anything, any thought in you that holds you apart from anything you see, then it's a thought and it's not real. It's part of the illusion, because truth has no thought, no separation, no division. So for an hour and a half, I sat in front of this mirror, naked, with this body, repeating the Course in Miracles workbook lessons to keep the mind kind of busy, eyes open, though they were pulsing. For an hour and a half, they kept chattering. And after a little while, what happened was, I could see the background of my room, but I could no longer see me. It was a black hole. Just a black hole. And then it was done. I got through all of the lessons, and then the first 300 a second time, and then the chattering stopped, everything stopped, and I just went to sleep. It would be a great story if I told you I woke up and then looked at myself in the mirror and I didn't see those judgments anymore. But you know what? If you're here listening to me, then we're on a gentle healing path, without a doubt. But we're not on the press the button and it's all gone path. At least I'm not, right? I can tell you, when I looked in the mirror the next day, the thoughts had weakened significantly. And mirror work has been added to my spiritual practice, not every day, and not for an hour and a half. But I was called back to the mirror again yesterday. And it was easier. It didn't last as long. It's just, we've been taught here at Awakening Together to know what our goal is, spiritual aspiration, to hold that into mind, and then do the work to get quiet enough to listen to inner guidance and to trust what it tells us and to do what it says. And it works. It works. I was in my sister's gorgeous beach house last week, and I was sitting on the porch, and I was watching the Atlantic Ocean, and I felt still and peace and quiet, right? Gorgeous. And I realized that it was the same feeling I felt when I sit on my little terrace watching the hummingbirds. It's the same feeling I feel when I'm sitting on the couch in contemplation. It's the same feeling when I take a walk by the river. I don't need the ocean, and I don't really need anything, right? It was the same when I came back and I called Dove to tell him that my schedule is changing so that I could be part of Jacqueline and Connie's class. He said, "How was vacation?" And I honestly was able to tell him that I don't understand that word anymore. I don't know what vacation means anymore. My goal, my only purpose in life right now is for the end of the illusory self, to let go of thinking anything has to change, any place has to change. In gentle healing this week and last week, there was only one assignment from the Rupert Spira teachings. It's to know that it's always here and always now. And that's what I got sitting on my sister's porch in the Atlantic Ocean. It was literally a recognition of this is me without story. This is me without story. I don't have to go anywhere. Whatever happens in my world next, it's not going to be up to Cyndi. It's going to help let go of Cyndi. Cyndi dies, right? Cyndi dies. I am eternal. And everything in the world right now is about that. Everything that lights me up or triggers me or does anything is all about simply being used as the fuel to burn up the remnants of a little s self, separate from the one mind and the one truth. And with that, Cyndi, this song, which I absolutely adore, which I thought we were going to open with, we get to play. It's Van Morrison. The first words of the song, we were born before the wind, also younger than the sun, the Tao, that which came before God. It's all yours, Cyndi. Into the mystic. So, Cyndi, I didn't put it on my little cheat sheet, so I forgot to say, while we play this song, Cyndi is going to post the link to make donations to Awakening Together. We are a church, and your donations are greatly appreciated. If you're in gallery mode, you could also use your phone and click on this little barcode on the screen, and it'll take you there too. All right, so we have a few minutes left, and this is where I get to ask if anyone would like to speak into this space. Anything at all from your heart to add to or to talk about? Beverly. Just have to unmute. Where'd you go? There you are.
Sitting in my gazebo. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can't really see you because the light behind you is so bright. But I can hear you.
I'm sitting here with my husband. He's a big Van Morrison fan, so he knew exactly what song. Beautiful, but yeah. And I was laughing because we had just come back from vacation about 3 weeks ago. We went to Turks and Caicos, and you know, same thing. People were like, "Oh, how was it? That was wonderful. What was it?" You know, and I was just, I don't know. I felt this feeling of, you know, the beaches were beautiful. Everything was wonderful. Almost felt like what people expected me to say. But I feel like for me, my experience is becoming so continuous that I don't feel, you know, I used to have work in this category of what the energy of what work is like. And, you know, home is in this energy category, and vacation and, you know, things you're doing of this nature are in this category. And I feel like it's all starting to blend to the point that I don't want to say excitement. It's not like I didn't enjoy vacation. I don't have that. I don't know if it's attachment or judgment, maybe even, of my experience that I had before, to the point that I was like, am I dead inside? I'm like, you didn't enjoy Turks and Caicos? What's wrong with you? You know, like, because I'm experiencing this elated kind of experience that, you know, didn't really happen. And so when you said that, I was just like, oh my gosh, I kind of feel like this whatever's happening with me is not this up and down kind of thing that happens with, just the different categories of just life. But anyway, I so enjoyed your homily. Thank you.
Thank you, Beverly. And it was funny because, yeah, there were two things. I've been walking around going, this just feels natural and good. And I've heard people talk about that. Like when you lose this sense of the mystical or this, like, oh, it's supernatural stuff, then everything just, it feels really good. But the other thing that happened is I come back and I'm looking and I know that the right thing for me to write to my sisters is, I miss you. I can't wait to see you again. And it wasn't exactly true. It wasn't true, but it was still useful. And so I wrote it, knowing that it would touch them in a way that served truth, and I didn't need to explain it, which was also an extraordinary feeling for me. I don't miss, when the energy of missing something comes up, I go back to the pen or the contemplation, but I don't really feel that anymore. I feel curiosity, but there's nothing missing. And that was that experience at the beach. And I'm so glad that you had it too, because I prefer it this way. Like I don't need to go on vacation to feel at peace. Yeah. Anybody else like to share? There was this other moment also at the beach that was extraordinary for me that I think really points to everything we're talking about. I was sitting on this long table and there was a puzzle. Jigsaw puzzles are fun for me when I consider Cyndi's a piece and the puzzle in the whole. But everybody else, the family, my sisters, I think my daughter, maybe a niece, everybody was reading a novel. And there was a lot of these conversations about what book are you reading and what book did you like and what's your next book. And I was sitting there. I had no interest in reading a novel, fiction at that moment. I was watching everybody laying on various forms of couches, getting lost in the novels. There was no judgment, but I was in this space watching that at peace, realizing that I was in the greatest novel that was ever written. Like everything about that experience, every sense of a me and a them was part of the illusionary world. And it was so much sweeter than getting lost in another layer of fiction, if that makes sense, which was also extraordinary. I see a hand raised. Is it Satsang? I don't know who you are.
Hey, it's Laura. I don't know why my screen isn't showing anything, but I'm on.
Hi, Laura.
Hi. Let's see. You guys really? I don't know. It's kind of scary if I start my video.
Oh, there you are.
I need to do some mirror work, like like Cyndi did. I was just going to share, that life does feel like a vacation, or it's just a holiday, a holy day all the time. When life is just lived through that, what am I to do now, whether it's at work or, in all these classifications that we might in the world have. And then I can see those blips where I might be distracted, the I might enter and be diverting from staying with what's true. And so it's just like a constant little adjustments. And but it takes a whole lot less energy and efforting to live this way. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. And now your joy. Now your joy. Is there, recently in a contemplation, I discovered that the pen wrote the words, I am Adyashanti, which was extraordinary to me. I love the teacher Adyashanti, but I'm not attached to him. And I didn't understand until I looked up the definition of the word. And for those who are interested, Adyashanti means primordial peace, which was extraordinary. I then loved that those words came through me. Yeah. All right, so shall we listen to what was supposed to be the second song, which is now the third song, which sort of is perfect relative to how the conversation took us to the fact that every breath is a vacation. All right, I love us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for doing this very gentle awakening journey with whatever it is I am. Sina, I surrender the mic.
You've been watching our online gathering. It happens weekly on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time. To join us live in the sanctuary, visit our website, awakening-together.org. You'll want to click on Online Sanctuary in the main menu, and then in the drop-down menu, look for How to Enter the Sanctuary. Right there at the top of the page is a clickable link. We'd love to see you in the sanctuary and join with you in fellowship. Thank you again for watching. Also, please know that if you'd like to stay connected via the Awakening Together channel here on YouTube, you can subscribe and hit the bell for more notifications. We hope to see you in the sanctuary.